Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parashas Noach. This week's edition is entitled The 40% Rule and Achieving More in Your Life. This is adapted mainly from Baruch Simon's Imrei Baruch HaTorah, as well as the Kedushas Levi from Levi Yechiel Berditchev. Ex-Navy-Seal David Scoggins, who's a motivational speaker, he shares his 40% rule for success in achieving more in life. Put succinctly, he says, when your mind is telling you that you're done, you're only 40% done. In Bereishis, Perek Zayin, Pasuk Aleph, Hashem praises Noach as being righteous, as being a Tzadik. And 6 psukim later, Rashi says, Af Noach MiKatanei ha'amana Haya, that Noach was of little faith. According to Zohar Chadash, after the Mabul, Noach cried and cried out to Hashem and said, Hashem, you're called Rachum. You're called the merciful one. How come you let the world get destroyed? You should have had mercy on your creations. HaKadosh Baruch Hu responded to Noach saying, I called you a Tzadik. For 120 years, I gave you the opportunity to help pray for other people. You should have prayed for your generation before. You didn't. Now you wake up? So this is why the flood is attributed to Noach. It's called Noach because Noach should have prayed for his generation, and he didn't. The Baer Moshe, Moshe Yechiel Halevi Epstein Mei-Ozorov, he explains that the Zohar Chadash is telling us that the praise of Ki oscha re'isi Tzadik lafanai, you're the one I saw as righteous before me, it wasn't meant to be a praise and to stroke the ego of Noach, but it was meant to support him and to encourage Noach to pray for the people. Let Noach know that he had the ability to save the world. He was a tzaddik. So why didn't Moshe pray for the tzibur? Why didn't Noach pray for the tzibur? So the Kedushas Levi, he asked this question and he answers it. He says there's 2 types of tzaddikim in the world. One type is one that he believes that he can influence the way things happen in the world to the extent that he can nullify a gezerah, an evil decree that Hashem has, in order to make it good. On the other hand, there's a second type of tzaddik, and that's a tzaddik who he's very modest. He doesn't think much of himself, and he doesn't believe that he could be mevatel such a gezerah, so he won't even pray at all. So Noach didn't think he was so special. He thought, just like Hashem told him, I'm going to save you, that Hashem was going to go to the other people and save them also. So he didn't think that he had to pray. So that was one reason. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak goes further and says that when Rashi was called Noach MiKatanei ha'amana, he meant that Noach had little faith that he was a Tzadik Tamim and that he'd be able to be mevatel the decree, meaning he didn't believe in himself. Rav Simon calls this a false and invalid humility. So continuing the topic of 40 that we mentioned, the 40%, the Dor Mabul lived during a time that was considered to potentially be Zman Matan Torasenu. If the generation had thought more highly of themselves and improved themselves, there would have been no flood, and they would have instead received the Torah. Amazing. Rav Moshe Wolfson Shlita expands and says, if the generation of the flood had been worthy, the 40 days of rain would have been like the 40 days that Moshe Rabbeinu went up to be Mekabel Torah. But since they didn't merit it, the rain came instead. May we be Zochah to remember our potential. When we think we're done and it can't get better, we are perhaps only 40% of the way there, which means that we can more than double our output. We can more than double what we think we can accomplish. So let's try living with this 40% rule in our own lives, whether it's Torah or Chesed or it's exercise or relationships or business, whatever it is. Let's challenge ourselves to go beyond what we think are our limits. Don't be like Noach, who cried after the fact, and when he could have achieved his goal by having more confidence in his own ability. I have confidence in you. I hope you do too. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.